Be'ezrat Hashem, we want to now begin Halachot of Kiddush Bimkom Seuda. So important halachot that have to do with this is now both night and day, but we know that the halacha explains that in Kiddush Bimkom Seuda, Kiddush only works, it only suffices if you have a Seuda that follows the Kiddush that you make. And you're not allowed to make Kiddush in this house and then eat a Seuda in another house. Translate bite house. Shenemar, as the pasuk says, "V'karata Shabbat oneg." You shall call Shabbat oneg. The Gemara learns out shekiryat Shabbat, calling out of Shabbat. Hainu Kiddush, which is the Kiddush. What are we doing Kiddush? We're mentioning Shabbat. Tiyeh bimkom oneg, should be in the place where you have your oneg, your delight, your pleasure. Hainu Seuda, which is considered the Seuda, the meal of Shabbat that we have. If someone makes Kiddush on wine and doesn't have any Seuda that follows this Kiddush, not just he didn't fulfill this idea of Kiddush Bimkom Seuda, his whole Kiddush didn't work. Why? Because the Kiddush needs a Seuda that follows the making of the Kiddush. Even if he heard the Kiddush, didn't drink anything, and then later on he eats in another house, he did not fulfill his obligation of the Kiddush, as if he ate without making Kiddush. He heard the bracha of Kiddush, he didn't have a Seuda in the place where he heard, he eats the Seuda somewhere else, as if he didn't make Kiddush whatsoever. Therefore, in a scenario where he heard Kiddush, didn't have anything there, and then wants to have a Seuda in another house, he needs to make Kiddush one more time. And in all of these halachot that pertain to Kiddush Bimkom Seuda, there's no difference between men and women. This halakha applies to them both equally. So now there are a bunch of rules to this halakha. Let's explain the first one. So for example, let's say very briefly, so imagine a scenario where I'm in my house, in my room, and I hear Kiddush from my neighbor's room or neighbor's apartment. Does that work? So the halakha explains that if you're in a scenario where you're at your table, set, food is ready, Kiddush is ready, and your neighbor's saying Kiddush from across the hall, and he says the Kiddush loud enough, he has you in mind, and you have in mind to be Yotef with his beracha, because you're having your Kiddush in that place where you heard, because you're having your Seuda, in the place where you're hearing Kiddush, it works even if you don't drink any wine. Why? Because the drinking and tasting of the wine is only an obligation for the person making the bracha, not the people listening. It's good to, out of chivuv mitzvah, but there's no obligation to. So as long as the person making Kiddush in the other room has you in mind, and you have in mind to be yotzeh, and he drinks, even though you didn't drink, because you're having your Seuda in this room, it counts as Kiddush Bimkom Seuda, and you can make hamotzi and eat your meal over there, even though you didn't drink any wine or grape juice. We'll speak more about this halachot in upcoming days. Have a wonderful day.